Not yet.
Nope.
Okay, it's 1:32.
You can,
I'll see if I have an email from her.
okay,
She's having any difficulty getting in.
okay.
No. No.
No. So do you want to call it to order right now, and then she can, if she joins in, and then if we have to, change it, then we'll just,
Well, okay. All right, so we'll call the March 18th meeting of the Bylaw Review Advisory Council Committee to order at 1:33 p.m. Present are two members, Lucy
Yes.
Dalton and Francine Tishman, and we're waiting at least one more. And if that doesn't happen, then we're just going to have to postpone the meeting and reschedule. So
Yeah.
let's wait a few more minutes and then we'll go from there. Now, so I'm open to all of her emails and I don't see it.
yeah.
Okay. We've got a couple. I'm not aware of any outages in the area.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard from Virginia either, so.
What I didn't do is send out a reminder yesterday, which maybe I should have done.
Oh, but you did send one out with the information.
Oh, yeah. Everything was all in
Yeah.
one email, all the documents,
Mhm.
and the agenda with the link.
Mhm. Right,
And it's all posted as well,
Right.
same stuff.
right.
Okay.
What time is it? 1:30.
Okay, it's 1:35. We'll wait just a little bit.
Yep. I'm just making notes on the minutes that,
Okay.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, there you are. Hi,
Hi.
Virginia. Hi.
Hi, Virginia.
Hey.
Yes.
Okay. 1 second. Welcome. We already opened the meeting, and just let me find something here. Okay. Anyway, Virginia, we already opened the meeting. Chris is not going to be able to join us today. So in effect, we really can't take a vote. We can discuss the items on the agenda, but we're not going to be able to take a vote.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, we've opened the meeting. I see no one here for public comment, so we'll move on that. Then our elusive minutes of March 12th, 2020, and February 25th of 21, we'll have to just wait on until the four of us are together. Updating on the status of the drafts that have been submitted. It was agreed by the select board, and I think I explained this the last time, that they would, for a cost of about $600, see what we could get our legal counsel, how many of those bylaws reviewed by them. And so I don't have a final word on, how many and which ones, but they were general government, town administrator, select board, council on aging, town clerk, treasurer collector, community preservation commission, sidewalk clearing, restrictions on issuing of licenses and permits, overnight parking, and fire lanes and fire hydrants. So those are the ones that we're still outstanding, completed, and we're waiting. So that takes us through that one. Let me then, I submitted to everyone. I'm going to try to share. So give me a minute here. I'm going to try to share a document. Is that there for you? Can you see that?
No. No.
Can't. You can't. No. No. Let me see if I can do this. One more time. Let me try. All right. This is exasperating.
Mm-hmm.
I lined everything up, but they're not, and they're open on mine, but they're not coming up on the screen.
Mm.
All right. Well, do you have your copies in front of you
Yep, I
by
do.
any chance?
Which one?
The one on soliciting?
Yes.
I do.
Do you? Okay, you both do?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then let me get mine. All right. And what I had done is the police chief had made some additional comments, which I built in. And then Chris looked at another version from another town and had some comments to add in. So everything that you see in your copy that is in green are proposed changes that I have made and or items that need to be verified. And I come back to, I have to look at the chapters in the law to make sure that we're referencing the appropriate things. So those I think we could skip over. That's a detail that we're not going to resolve today. But if we go then down to the next, from section 1 to on purpose, where we're talking about citing a chapter and section of general law, to section 2, where the change was by the police, by the chief of police. He wanted designee put in every instance. So if he wasn't the person assigned to issuing these permits, that whomever he designated had the same authority as what we were putting into the bylaw. So that was the only comment there was without registering, or yes, is just to show the change of chief of police or designee.
Yep.
And that people have to, and this I believe was in there before, people have to apply for a license or a permit certificate not less than 10 days before commencing the solicitation. The next highlighted section there again referenced a general law that we have to verify. Then
Does
we
the
go down
general
to,
law,
pardon?
I was going to say, does the general law state who keeps the records? Does the police department keep the records of the permits, or do we have to?
It would be the police department because they're issuing.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Definition section, soliciting was okay. We have to come to some determination, and again, we can discuss it. We can't decide it on the definition of canvassing, and that is in the first one, person-to-person distribution of literature, periodicals, or other printed materials for commercial purposes, including or shall not include. Are we going to allow people just if someone's not home to place or drop off printed materials on the premises? So we have to come to some determination on that one. Anybody have any thoughts? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say, I thought that if it's religious material, are we allowed to say no?
Well, we can get down to it's whether or not when a person canvasses, which is basically the distribution of literature versus face-to-face conversation.
Okay.
If someone's not home, are we just going to allow them to leave this material around on their
Right.
property? So that's
Right.
what that means.
Right.
It doesn't talk about the content of the material at this point.
Right. And
There is something later on about religious.
Yes, there is.
well, it says exceptions in section 4. It says exceptions. So that's I see it now. Religious, charitable, or political
Yes.
entity. So there. Yep.
Yes.
So I just didn't look farther down enough. So
Yeah, that's our next one. Going down to exceptions, we added in the whole thing was were religious or in charitable or in political organizations were exempt from this, okay, as well as representatives of the Commonwealth or any political subdivision of the Commonwealth. And what was added, and this was something that Chris found that I thought was important, that we may grant temporary licenses or permits to any incorporated organization of veterans who served in the military or naval service of the United States for the sale of flags, badges, medals, buttons, flowers, souvenirs, and similar small items in accordance again with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 101, Section 33. I think that's an important exemption to have added.
I like that addition. I do.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, then in terms of the next section 5, the application for license or permit. In what we're trying to clarify here is that each company in and of itself has to have a license or permit issued in the company's name. But in addition to that, the individual or individuals who are doing the solicitation on behalf of the company also have to have an individual identification and license permit.
Yeah.
Which I think is again a good thing.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
Okay. Anybody have any comments? You're okay with that?
Yeah, no, I agree that they should be, if they're representing a company, they should be having something saying they're representing the company. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then the next one is each person engaged in soliciting or canvassing shall promptly display on a lanyard, which is going to have to be something that we provide.
Right.
That they wear around their neck that shows, which displays the license or the permit that was issued by the chief of police or their designee. Okay. Well, they have to wear it the entire time that they're going door to door. Failure to prominently wear it is a violation of $300 per individual. Okay. And per primary employing entity per violation day. So it would be of the individual and of the company. So we're looking.
Good.
I know that's a hefty amount, but I think, given, some of the conversations that just have started to evolve around soliciting, I think we need appropriate deterrence. And this may be
we need this. Yeah, we need this updated soon because people don't realize what the solicitation bylaw is. So
right. Right. But there is currently a moratorium on doing door-to-door solicitation. So,
right.
I mean, that's it for now. That buys us some time before this goes into effect. Because no one should be soliciting door-to-door until the end of the year, I believe was how it was written. All right. Including in the next section, including a fingerprint or a background check. And that would be a decision of the police chief or his designee. Looking and saying that doing the background check and issuing the permit and the lanyards and the display badges and so forth all has a cost associated with it. And so we're going to pass that along to the solicitor. So we're going to be asking, based on a fee that's determined by the select board, that there will be an application fee for soliciting. And it's based on, what the rate and the information we'll be getting from the chief of police. And the rate will be set to cover the expenses of the background checks and other verification activities associated with the issuance of each license or permit. And the fee must be paid at the time of application. So there's personnel time involved in addition to the cost of the materials.
Yep.
Okay. So we have to find a way. So I don't know what that fee is. And as it says, it's going to be periodically reviewed and perhaps even updated, based on our experience with issuing the license, the permit, and the cost of that. The next one was talking about the hours between noon and 6 p.m. I think at one point we had some other time. What are your feelings about this new time slot?
It's fine with me. It looks fine.
Okay, Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay. This is looking at Section 8, which allows for a no soliciting or canvassing list, which means that people can advise the police department that they do not want anyone for any reason coming on their property to solicit or to canvass. So they have to submit, that the fact that their name goes on that list has to be done directly between the homeowner or the business owner and the chief of police. The question is, for how long is that list valid? Do people have to request once a year? What do you think is reasonable?
I wonder if we could do something when we send out the census form. Because it is annual, and we could, maybe add a little attachments like to the dog license form. Would you like to be on the list for, canvassing or not canvassing? Something to that effect.
Yeah.
I think this is another subject, but I think we should also think about that for Code Red. Because there's a lot of people that have the wrong numbers, but that's another thing. But maybe we could put something into the census form, and when we get them in, I can hand over the things or whatever, make a list for the chief and hand it over to him, and he'll have it. And, we could say, would you like to remain on for a year or longer? Something like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's good. That's a good solution.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you get a very good return on the census every year.
Yeah. Yep. We do.
Okay.
So maybe we could suggest something like that to the chief. When it comes to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would sort of take it out of his responsibility, except that he has to have that list and share that list with whomever, applies for a license to solicit.
Right. Right,
Okay.
because I sent him the list of the dog owners as well. So he has a list of dog owners in case there's ever an issue. So
Okay.
something we can suggest to him.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
All right. And then that way it'll be an annual thing, so it will be current. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the next section was, for how long a period of time is this license or permit valid for people to use once it's issued? Is it for 3
Right.
months? Is it for 6 months?
Yeah,
I don't have,
I don't have anything.
okay. So,
I do want to go back to the hours. I'm sorry. Because I was thinking about daylight savings time,
yeah.
and between 12 and 6, it gets darker earlier in the winter. So, I mean, I'm fine with it between 12 and 6, but some people might be like, oh, it gets dark at 4:30. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm fine with 12 to 6. Just something to think about with the daylight savings. I don't know if that will make a difference, but I mean, maybe when we put on this little message, something about between that, canvassing between the hours of 12 to 6, blah, 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 would you like to be on the list of not wanting it? You know what I mean? Then something like that.
Yeah.
Something.
Okay. Now that is a thought because it does get dark at 4:30.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if just call it quits at 5. People are getting ready to have their
Okay.
No.
I mean, we can go back and we can change that to 5 once, Chris comes in and weighs in. And believe me, what we're discussing today and even what the four of us discuss is still very far from
Yeah.
final in this process. We have to get other input.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
But that's another good thought. Okay. The next section is a little bit longer, and just for the record, since I'm not able to show this document, I'm going to have to read it. Okay, so bear with me. It is the limitation on use of license, section B, and it says a photo identification shall be issued with every license, which shall include the licensee's full name and organization, if any, the seal of the Southampton Police Department, whether soliciting or canvassing activities or both are authorized, and the license number and expiration date, and which shall be worn by the licensee so as to be visible and legible to the public at all times while soliciting or canvassing. Each licensee additionally shall carry the issued license at all times while conducting business pursuant to the same, and said license shall be produced for review upon the request of any town police officer. That's pretty straightforward. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then the other section, section C, says each licensee shall engage in only those activities that are allowed by the terms of the issued license or permit. No licensee shall operate pursuant to the terms of an issued license until the material terms of that license, as described in section 5, which we previously, shall have been published by, and we have to determine who's responsible for publishing it, in a local general circulation for a period of how many days. So, I mean, once we get there, we really do need to notify the public that these are our requirements. And I'm wondering whose jurisdiction that would come under.
Yeah.
Probably the police, but I don't want to speak for them.
Right.
And then we have to then obviously have an expense line to cover the cost of this. Okay, so who's responsible? It could be something perhaps that falls under the select board. We'd have to research that just a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm wondering if also, I'm sorry, I'm coming up with all this stuff, but if we should say something about, I mean, people can get street lists, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm just a little, I don't know, should we have a concern about, you know, solicitors wanting street lists or no? I mean, they have to pay for it, so I'm just,
Has that ever happened to you? Have they come and asked for one?
no, not yet. Not yet. So, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if we should be concerned about it or not, but just something to think about too. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'll add that to my list of discussion item. Do we make street lists available to solicitors? Or do
I
they
mean-
just get the list from the police department of the houses that choose not to be bothered?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we have to think about that.
Yeah, because they're going to have to reconcile the list.
Right,
'Cause they definitely can't go to the houses that say no.
right, exactly. So, yeah.
Right.
So just, you know, I'm not nitpicking or anything, but I'm just trying to think of stuff that we should think about. So I'm trying to put my lights on and they're not.
Okay. All right, yeah, we'll make a note of that to follow that a little bit more. And
Okay.
then looking at a change or an addition under the suspension and revocation of a license or permit. And it's basically says if the person falsifies any information on their application to the police, it could be immediately revoked, which makes all the sense in the world. Okay.
Does the chief have any application already formed?
Drawn
or
up.
does he?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
And I had asked him to join us today,
Yeah.
but he had a conflict.
Yeah.
So
It's okay.
so that's, 2 out of the 5 who could have been here today.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Looking at section 12, we're talking about violations and penalties. We're saying that violations of the terms, conditions, and restrictions of this bylaw, exclusive of the fine regarding the display of the license or permit identification, which we know we said was $300, issued pursuant to the same shall result in a fine of, and we have to define what that is. Okay, and whether or not we just put it in as a non-criminal, put it on that schedule of non-criminal ticketing, or we just set a fee in here that, $50 per violation. Any thoughts? And I made up $50. I don't know.
I don't know. I think this is something that we should think about too, and when we can get the chief here to talk about with us.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And the proceeds of all of these violations and penalties, I would guess we would have to set up, whether it would go to the general fund or this would be something you would want in a revolving fund for those other expenses that we have to incur, such as printing the license forms, the photograph, all of the expense.
Right. Yeah. That's something to think. Yeah. Yep.
Not that I think we're going to hope that we're not going to be making tons of money on this thing, because that means we're going to be inundated with solicitors. Right. I'm not sure, but
yeah.
Okay. All right. So that anything else on this one?
This looks good. This looks good.
I didn't find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm back, but I'm sorry. Everything seems to take so long, and then something happens that makes it even longer.
Yeah.
Okay. But we have to get it right. And just so you know, the thinking behind this and the noise and the building numbering is to have some type of public, not public hearing, but public meeting before it goes to the attorneys, and certainly before it goes to town meeting, to get more input from people in the public in terms of their feelings about this stuff.
Yep. I honestly think that this is a very important one, especially because people haven't been out in a year, and with vaccinations coming and, things opening up again, I mean, people might be going door to door more because they've lost business. I don't know, but I think this is a very important article, bylaw. So.
Yeah, it is. And I think we've covered a lot in it.
Yeah.
So.
Hold on. Sorry. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. All right. Virginia, you feel good about them?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I'm looking at the fact that the solar industry, they're going to be out
Yes.
in stores.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're hard sell people a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This will be, my hope, our goal should be that this is in place in whatever form, is finally determined, certainly before the end of this moratorium on door-to-door solicitation. Okay. And so we have a little bit of time, but certainly not a lot. And as I said, everything takes a long time, and then you find out it takes even longer. There are more steps in between.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of having people weigh in on this is a good one.
I agree. Definitely.
Okay. All right, because this really is, what affects people where they live, literally.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so we will come back to that. I will see, those couple of items that we talked about that you recorded, like having this question be added to the census form about whether or not you want to be off the list for the year of solicitation, whether or not solicitors can purchase our street listing, and what we plan to do about the funding, whether it's general fund, revolving fund to cover the police department expenses for this. So we have some questions there. Was there anything else that came up that we need to?
Nope. Not that I can think of right now.
Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is the E360, which, after this is done, this would take care of all the future work, I would think.
Yeah. I honestly think that, and we can discuss it, but I feel like we should have Christine here with us discussing this, just because, she's on the grant committee, and I don't know, maybe she could talk about some kind of money we could get for, adding this into a budget.
Yeah, because the first year is close to $7,000.
Yeah. Right.
And then there's an annual maintenance fee of what, about $1,300?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. The initial.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
I was just going to say, not to cut it off the agenda, but it is a big thing, and I think it's important. I really think it's an important thing, but I think it's also a money issue, and I really wish we had the money to do this, because it would help out a lot. So.
Well, yeah, I think the four of us would agree.
Yeah.
All right. And the police might also, since he's put a lot of time in reviewing this and a couple of other bylaws,
right.
but to keep them current, if it could be something that's,
Yes.
you know,
Mhm.
the business of someone who does that regularly.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I mean, all it takes is for us to send them the bylaw, you know?
Yeah.
That's how the process works. So,
Right. Yeah, and as regulations and laws change, they update it for us, which
Yes,
is a valuable
yes.
service.
Absolutely, I agree.
And I would think, and I don't know this for sure, but I think we've talked about this before, would this kind of obviate the need for our legal counsel every time we make a change?
Mhm.
Is that going to save us, you know,
Right.
that money down the line?
Right, yeah, definitely.
So that's a concern. All right. And my thinking was whether or not this would be something that would qualify under capital improvement. And that's, Chris does grants. This would be,
Yeah.
capital improvement would just, is an internal way of accessing the money.
Right,
In the, in the overall amounts that go through that, this is not a huge item, really.
Mm. Yeah,
I mean, it's huge to us because we know there isn't any other money
Right.
there.
Right.
But when you see some of the things people ask for on capital improvement,
Yeah. But the other issue then is building the maintenance fee into the budget ongoing.
yeah,
yeah,
We
Yeah.
need to
Right.
realize that there's continuing costs and how that's going to be paid for. Not that it's a lot of money, but
Mhm.
when we're so kind of, limited in our resources, everything is a lot.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so that brings us then, is there anything else that anybody wants to, excuse me?
I would rather wait to discuss the boards and committees responses until Christine is here.
Yes.
So we can talk about that with her.
Okay.
And I know that in the finance committee meeting, they said that they were still reviewing their stuff. So
Right.
I don't have any other business that, I need to discuss right now. So,
Okay. Just to bring you up, I did send the building number probably before our last meeting. I sent it to the building superintendent, and he wrote
Yep.
back and said he would get back to me, but I have not heard yet from him. So I'll follow.
he's been out all week. So
He
he's
what?
been out all week. He's out.
Oh.
He's been out all week. So
Okay.
I don't know.
All
I
right.
don't know when you, yeah,
All right. I will follow up on that.
yeah.
So I'm looking at the calendar then to see
Yep.
when we could meet sooner rather than later, since basically we weren't able to finalize anything today.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at, you don't think there's going to be any competition on next Thursday? I'm looking.
I have a meeting.
I know you have yours. Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar. How about next Wednesday, the 24th?
I can do the 24th.
I think
Virginia,
I'm okay.
the 24th. Is everybody good with this time?
I am good with this time. Yes.
Okay.
I have other things. This is not a. This is
All right.
often an open time.
Good.
Let me just look one more place in case there is any other conflict. But according to the town calendar, there isn't.
Yep.
Okay, 24th looks like it's good and doable.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
I don't see other town meetings, so we should be good. All righty.
Great. Okay.
So is there anything else you want to bring up?
Nope. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Virginia
All right,
and Lucy,
and,
for coming. And it's 2:12 p.m.
Yep.
All right. So what I'll get out to you is, if I get any other input on either from the building numbering, And anything else, I'll get that out in advance. Okay?
Okay. All right. And I'll
All
get the
right,
minutes out
everyone,
to you.
thank you very much.
All right.
And I'll
Thank
see you
you.
next Wednesday.
All right. See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.